Hello, beautiful people. Your signs are awesome. Your presence is awesome. Thank you for being here. I'm Joy Zimmerman. I'm a Kansas City singer-songwriter, and I've been invited to help warm us up a little bit, and I'm going to share an original song, and I hope you'll sing along. Shed a little light on me, shed a little light. Shed a little light on me, shed a little light. Shed a little light on me, shed a little light. Shed a little light, shed a little hope, shed a little peace. Share a little hope, share a little hope with me. Share a little hope. Share a little hope with me. Share a little hope. Share a little hope with me. Share a little hope. Share a little light, share a little hope, share a little peace. Sing a little joy, sing a little joy with me. Sing a little joy. Sing a little joy with me. Sing a little joy. Sing a little joy with me. Sing a little joy. Sing a little light, sing a little hope, share a little peace. Share a little light, share a little light with me. Share a little light. We need more light, share a little light with me. Share a little light, we need more hope. Share a little light with me. Share a little light. Share a little light, share a little hope, share a little peace. Share a little light, share a little hope, share a little peace. We need more light, we need more hope, we need more peace. Full for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriotry that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. All right, we definitely today need some Woody Guthrie, don't we? And here we go. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon of highway, amazing Joy Zimmerman. Another round of applause. Friends and neighbors and real Kansans, welcome to No Kinsey! We're so excited to be here to see all of you standing up and speaking out to preserve our precious democracy and our 250-year commitment to liberty and justice for all. I'm Martha Lawrence.
And I'm Nancy Mays.
And we're with Boots on the Ground Midwest, an indivisible group dedicated to action. The two of us are on stage right now, but it took a lot of us to get this organized. We'd like to give a huge thank you to all the Johnson County coalitions, and that includes Susan Norris from Lenexa Four Corners, Janet Peterson from Heartland Indivisible, Mainstein Coalition, for all of them for their support and staffing and spreading the word. And thanks to everyone who went out and handed out flyers, got your neighbors here. We just love seeing all of your faces. We'd also like to thank a few more people, Aaron at Peacock Print for the amazing t-shirts, Jose at Moss Printing, and our audio techs, Christian and Jaron, and the amazing sound system. Can you all hear me all the way back there? Yes. The audio rank KC and Elite Sound. So thanks to all of those people for helping. Also, we want to give a huge round of applause for Johnson County Community College. Their commitment to free speech allowed us all to be here today, and we cannot take that for granted. So thank you to JCCC. We'd also like to thank our tireless board. Without them, none of this would be possible. So thank you to Jenna Brown, Mary Kaufman, Stephanie Hecker, Daniel Sharpenberg, and Janet Milkovic. And finally, a special thank you to Meredith Lai. She spent countless hours on that. You are all here because of her, so huge shout out to her. And thank you to all the people who stepped up to be marshals and volunteers. Everybody did this together. If you haven't had a chance to stop with our partners over in the tents, they all need your help. They're all nonprofits. So if you can stop in and see how you can help, that would be great. And in spite of what Florida resident Roger Marshall says, we work for free. We don't receive any money from George Soros. So if anybody wants to donate, we will take it. And also, just to be clear, has anybody here been paid to show up? Yeah, didn't think so.
Right? I know. All right. So a few notes about safety as we get going. We are fully committed to a peaceful, non-violent movement. Yes? First of all, we're good people, all of us here, and we don't want anybody to get hurt, but also strategically, a nonviolent movement is what's going to win, right? They want us to engage and so that they can intervene, and we're not going to let it happen. So we're here to build community. So in the spirit of that, we would like to get just a little churchy for 1 second and look around and introduce yourself, say hi, nudge somebody you've never spoken to before, because we are all here and we are all in this together. All right. Thank you so much for that, guys. I have a few other safety tips. Please make sure you have a meetup plan for the folks that you came with. There's also a first aid tent over there if anybody needs assistance. Thank you to the EMTs, nurse practitioner, and mental health counselor giving their time for free. They are ready to help. We also have folks in volunteer t-shirts and yellow vests. If you need help, just reach out and they'll help you. Sorry. When we're done, we're going to join the sidewalk protesters over there. Be safe when you do it. Follow the traffic laws. A couple of other things to ensure our safety. JCCC will be flying a drone. So if you see it, wave. Don't worry about it. And also, it's very possible that we will be joined by folks who see the world differently than us. And we are here so that they can protest as well, right? So we're not going to engage. We're just going to keep on doing what we're doing. And then now we're going to get into it because I'm sure that you, like us, don't want to be here today. We'd rather be spending our fall day doing something else. But we are, because our democracy has been hijacked by people who think the power belongs to them and not us. It's been hijacked by people who are courting billionaires while cutting services for Kansans. And most recently, hijacked by our elected officials who are trying to cheat their way to a win and gerrymander Kansas. No! But here's no new maps is right. But here's the truth. No kings in America, not in Washington, not in Topeka, not right here. Because this country was built on the very radical idea that power belongs to the people, and that means all of us. They want us tired and they want us divided. They want us to believe we can't win, but look around, we're already winning because we are not being guided by fear and cruelty. We're here, we're courageous, we're following our conscience, and we are here to say we are the power. So real loud before we get started, no kings in America. No kings in America. All right. And now let's show them what democracy looks like. Okay, our first speaker today is the amazing Jae Moyer. They are a queer activist. You might have seen them all over town. If you haven't, where have you been? Jae is also a member of the DEI Commission for the Johnson County Board of County Commissioners, but they are here in their own capacity today. So I introduce Jae Moyer.
It can feel like times are tough right now. And in some ways, they always have been and they always will be. So I'll just say this. If there's a place that feels like home that you can go back to and laugh with your friends, consider yourself lucky. And I do. That's how Amy Poehler closed her opening monologue on SNL last week. And when I heard her say that, I got chills. It reminded me that no matter what Donald Trump thinks he can change about this country, this is still a country where the power is held by the people simply because we exist. Take a second. Thank you. Take a second and think about the town you grew up in. My childhood was crafted by folks such as the librarians at the Shawnee Library who always knew if my book or VHS that I had rented out 1 billion times was in. The lifeguards at the Shawnee Sharks pool who would race me down the red and yellow slides. The workers at the pet stop off Neiman who would let me feed Frankie the monkey before I walked to the Sarpinos where they already knew my order. That's America. It's also the teachers in my schools who taught me the most important life lessons, such as to believe in yourself, to use your voice, to lean into the uncomfortableness of conflict. All of those people, from teachers to store employees to lifeguards and librarians, are the people who made up my childhood. And despite the fact that people change, they're not necessarily gone. Coming out as an LGBTQ plus kid in Kansas was not easy, and just existing seems to be an act of defiance, as it always has felt. Coming out, even around 13 years ago, was controversial to say the least. I had other kids on the bus telling me that I was unnatural, and I get hit with the F slur so many times in high school, and that happened all the way until graduation, and it still happens. And despite all of this, to this day, I refuse to be anything but my authentic self, which is only able to happen because I also have places I can go to where I can laugh with my friends, and I consider myself very lucky. But my entire adult life, remember, I graduated high school in May of 2017. Donald Trump has been on the ballot and twice now in the White House, and he cultivates a divisive culture of fear, pitting us against one another. And the people who enable him, I'd like to give you a couple examples. First, they're the Republican leadership who just approved a $500,000 redistricting session to try and gerrymander Kansas and split up Johnson County. If Ty Masterson were listening to this right now, I'd look him in the eyes and tell him that that's a hell of a lot of money to waste to try and silence this community's voice. Him and others, like Roger Marshall, fold like a cheap rag under Donald Trump's presidency, and they say that they want us to trust them with their vote to be the next U.S. Senator and next governor from Kansas? And it's also the young Republicans, people my age who are supposed to be the future, who refuse to grow up and instead praise Adolf Hitler and play who's the loudest bigot in the room. And remember, if young folks are saying it, they must have learned it from the leaders in their party who aren't condemning the fact that they said it, they're condemning the fact that they got caught. So I want to prove a point. I'm here today to prove a point. If you all are my community, if my existence proves anything, it's that we don't have to lose our sense of community just to allow others to thrive as individuals. I'm lucky because now I can stand up in front of a mic and loudly say that my name is Jae Moyer, my pronouns are they, them, and theirs, and there is nothing that Donald Trump or his merry band of billionaires, oligarchs, bigots, fascists, and Nazis can do about that. Donald Trump wants us to be lonely and forget how to organize. He does this because Donald Trump wants to control us. Donald Trump wants to be our supreme king. And we must not let him, because that's not what we do in America. So don't just go back to your place where you laugh with your friends. Expand it and use it to organize. Communicate your needs to your friends. And when it's all said and done, remember one thing. You should laugh because you are winning at a game that Donald Trump doesn't even want you playing. And when you go back and live as your authentic self, you might become the person at the school or the library or the pool or the pet shop or the pizza place that gave some little kid the confidence to grow up to build a better America. Thank you, Johnson County.
That was amazing, Jay. Thank you so much. Our next speaker represents a community that is very near and dear to boots on the ground. We do so much work to try to protect them. And her courage to get up here today brings tears to my eyes. I would like to introduce Nubia, who's a community organizer for immigrant rights.
Okay, I'm not gonna cry, okay? I have a speech, but I want to go a little bit off my speech real quick. I want to sincerely thank you, every single one of you. I see you, I hear you, and I love you. If I can give you a hug, and if you want like a kiss on the cheek, I would. It's a lot of you, it's a lot of germs, but I love it. I'll take it. Real quick, before I begin, I want to get my shakes out and hope you will join me in taking a deep breath. It's a lot, and we want to take this in because this is beautiful, and I love it. So let's take it in. Thank you. Breathe. Take it out. Gracias. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry because I'm strong, but I could also cry. So I'm going to pick a point and then talk to it. I have to look everywhere. My name is Nubia, she, her, ella, and I am a Mexican immigrant brought to the U.S. at the age of 3. Okay. I am now a dual citizen of Mexico and the U.S. I am also a mother, a daughter, an aunt, a wife, a community member, a community organizer with KS Moda, an immigration paralegal, working at an immigration law firm where I love what I do. My boss is there too. I want to speak a little bit about this last year. It has been nonstop, scary, fearful, and a complete nightmare for all of us. I'm here to talk a little bit about what we have been seeing in our immigrant community. And I will be vulnerable with you all, that I will cry, and share with you the last few months. I have been an angry citizen. I have cried, I have cursed, and I've been bitter towards a lot of people. Maybe more than bitter, but you get the point, okay? With that, I want to start a little bit of stories of a young father, or a father going to work who has worked very hard to build his construction company from the bottom up, a hard worker, a father of 3. Mysteriously or whatever, he gets pulled over because they were looking for somebody else. The other person wasn't in the car, anything like that. He gets stopped and he gets detained, incarcerated, and ultimately deported. That's right, boo. Leaving behind his pregnant wife and his 3 children. Chinga la migra, that's right. I want to talk a little bit also about Janet Vizquerra. She's a sanctuary church leader from Colorado who has been detained for about 7 months now. A little bit even, it's actually when the administration started. If you don't know her, she's a loud, proud sanctuary church advocate who had been in church the last few years, few administration. She's now been detained in Colorado. She holds a green card. She is a resident, but she has been in hold. She is fighting from within the detention center in Colorado. What these 2 cases have in common is that they're all advocating for their rights. They're all advocating for their community and mobilizing and telling our community members that we have rights too, because we're human. And a little bit about the young dad. He actually, if you go back, he was even featured in a Netflix documentary. And you know what these 2 cases have in common? They're being persecuted and targeted for their advocacy. I say, since they think, oh, these people are immigrants, they're brown, nobody's gonna care about them, but I care. And I know you all care. Well, woman. So, that's all. So, I'm gonna skip a little bit because I thought I wasn't gonna have enough time, but so, little thing what you don't know is that about 7% of those being detained in jail right now, where the immigration detention, have never been in detention facilities in their life. So guess what? They panic. They feel, oh my goodness. I hear people saying they've been here 6 months with no avail. They hear, I'm not gonna have a bond because they took that away from us. They hear, I wanna see my family. They've never been incarcerated before, so they panic, and unfortunately they signed a deportation order, and off they go, leaving behind their family, and that's how we have broken families here. So real quick, one thing I want you to do is I want you to be able to, in this mist of Gracie, I want you to find that joy. I want you to find that joy. Use our privilege to talk and advocate for our immigrants, that sometimes we cannot be sharing those stories because fear of repercussion and fear of being targeted. Please be our voice. If you don't see me on social media, know that I can't, because my loyalties to the community, and if I want to keep them safe, I have to be quiet. But know that I'm still out there, we're still out there fighting, and we need you to use your voice to continue and fight and tell them, hell no, we're not going to let our immigrant neighbors go out, okay? I'm strong. I'm so strong. One thing, I'm going to close it up. I'm so sorry, timer, I know you're going to hate me. In Spanish, we have a chant. It says, El pueblo unido jamás será vencido, which kind of translates to, the people united will never be divided. Can you join me saying that? The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. Muchas gracias a todos. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nubia. All right, now I get the pleasure of introducing Mark McCormick, a New York Times bestselling author, award-winning journalist, and you're going to want to listen to everything he has to say.
Hello, everyone. I am here today to ask you to swim. I'll explain more in a moment, and you'll understand better in a moment. But I wanted to start off by saying that Mark Twain said history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it does rhyme. We're in a new period now of retrenchment. Similar to post-Reconstruction, similar to the years after the Civil Rights Movement, and now following the historic presidency of Barack Obama. According to the National Urban League, we are now in a state of emergency. Some 300,000 Black women and counting have lost their jobs this year. Neo-Nazis and other hate groups are now marching with bold arrogance. We are facing direct attacks on our history, on our institutions, and on our jobs. There are escalating efforts to dismantle voting rights, to block access to fair elections, to erode gains fought for over generations. Democracy, civil rights, and progress itself are facing tireless attacks. People in masks are snatching other people off the street. Racial profiling is now legal. Due process has been annulled. It's bleak, and yet, in many ways, we've been here before. And we survived. Today actually reminds me of the great Bill Withers, who once sang, "When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, and when someone else instead of me always seems to know the way, then I look at you, and the world is all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's going to be a lovely day." Your presence here today is political speech. It's an assertion of your willingness to put in the work. It's an indication that you have not given up on our democracy. It means that you're determined to not only rescue our nation from this period of entrenchment, but to drive the moorings deeper, to build the spires higher for the continued ascendancy of our multiracial democracy. I want you to give yourselves a hand for your courage and your presence here today. I read a tremendous book earlier this year. It's called The Barn: The Secret History of a Murder in Mississippi. It was written by Wright Thompson, and it details the torture and murder of young Emmett Till in a barn, where his killers actually took water breaks between sessions of beating him. The author, a Southern white man, born and raised near that barn, was interviewed recently on a morning news show. He said two things that really resonated with me. First, when asked about reactions to his book, he said his readers uniformly say that those now in control of our government want to return to a pre-civil rights America. Second, he said he was standing on the banks of the Tallahatchie River in Mississippi with the niece of Mose Wright. Mose Wright was Emmett Till's uncle, and it was his house where Emmett Till was kidnapped. So in that moment, Thompson asked her, "What are you thinking about in this moment? What are you feeling?" Breaking the silence, she said, "I'm just so grateful." Grateful? Thompson said he didn't understand. Then she said, "Because he got out of the river." And it clicked for Thompson. You see, the Tallahatchie River is called the Singing River because of all the lynched bodies that have been tossed into it. It's as though those bodies will forever cry out for justice. Yeah, she said, "I'm so glad that he got out." Now, young Emmett Till, he didn't find justice for himself, but he did help create justice for millions of people he would never meet and people he did not know. And that's important, Thompson said, because there are so many people in this society who want to put Emmett Till back in that river, along with decades of civil rights advances. They want to submerge that history, to erase it from memory. Our opponents, as a strategy, attack what they perceive as our greatest strength, a history of resilience and a history of resistance. It's a tell. What they attack most is what they most fear. They want that history and all the remedies created because of it back on the bottom of the Tallahatchie. So right now, we have to be willing to sacrifice in ways that we never thought we'd have to. We need to be willing to sacrifice for gains we may never see, for people we don't even know. True generosity is planting a tree whose shade we'll never get to experience. People in the civil rights movement faced fire hoses with streams at 100 pounds per square inch, powerful enough to break ribs, powerful enough to rip hair out by the scalp, because they wanted something better for the next generation. My friends Judy Sherry and Janet Milkovich told me recently, they're not mad at the single mom working 2 jobs who can't be here today. They said that woman is trying to survive. But they said, we have a responsibility to her. And that's why I need you to swim. So many of us are just trying to keep our heads above water, but we need you to swim. Swim to the banks, all of you, and increase our numbers so we can raise our voices louder. Swim out to those floating blissfully unaware and lead them to the shore and into this movement. Swim to those who are drowning and bring them to the shore. Swim to groups like Boots on the Ground Midwest and give them your time, your talent, your treasure. We all can't give the same thing, but we can all give something. We know you have to swim through some stiff currents. We know the water is murky and cold. We realize it's a long distance, but swim. Swim as hard as you can. Get out of the river before our democracy sinks.
Thank you to Mark McCormick. Ooh. Okay, next we have a super special treat. We have a former Kansas laureate, poet laureate, and author, Huascar Medina.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's in the air today. Do you feel it? The breeze? They say wind is the prophet of change. I'm a second-generation immigrant living in the heartland. My mother is from Panama. My father is from Puerto Rico. And it's because of them that I'm here today, able to share poetry with you. And before I get started, I'd like to say, only fascists have a problem with anti-fascists. They keep trying to villainize the word immigrant as if they've forgotten that they too were brought to this country, that they too came to this country, that at some point in their family's timeline, they too were new Americans. So I've decided to call myself a new American moving forward. And this poem is called New American. Don't call me immigrant. I'm the new American, striving a new America. As a new American, I'm not an animal nor criminal. I am a just person, just striving in a new America. In new America, I am a full-time student, overtime worker, volunteering in my free time, if I planned enough ahead for free time, if I can even afford the free time, if my free time is approved. I work hard in new America, third shift warehouse, second shift my house, always on call, no days off, freelance for life, 4 jobs a week, blue and white collar. Don't call me immigrant. I'm the new American, surviving a new America. As a new American, I'm not your invader, not an animal, no criminal. I am a just person, just surviving in a new America. This is new America. Student loans for all, high rent, higher utilities, low pay, rising healthcare costs, the cost of living deadly, no living wage, living in rage, my cousins in cage for wanting to live in a safer part of new America. Don't call me immigrant. I am the new American, living in new America. As a new American, I am not your invader, not an animal, no criminal. I am a just person, just living in a new America. Strong and proud, able to withstand the distance I have traveled, the distance from my family, the distance between us, the distance of our dialects, the distance in our churches, the distance in our homes, the distance between my ancestors and my grandchildren, the distance from the streets to the dorm rooms, the distance from the field to the corner office suite. Don't call me immigrant. I'm the new American, dreaming of new America. As a new American, I am not your invader, not an animal, nor criminal. I am a just person, just dreaming of a new America. Old America, don't be afraid. We are all America, North America, Central America, South America. We are all Americans. We all strive in Americas. We all survive in Americas. We all live in Americas. They are all the same America. We all dream of a greater America. I want you to be paid a living wage, live in affordable housing without college debt or medical debt or credit card debt or national debt. I want no more racism. I'm speaking of a new America. I am part of new America, whether you like it or not. So join me, please.
Sorry, I got so caught up. That was amazing. Honestly. Okay, so everybody, wow. Next we have Bryson Ripley. He is a good friend of ours at Boots on the Ground. He is also president of Veterans for Peace. He's a student here at JCCC and KU, and we welcome him.
Hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. Thank you to Boots on the Ground Midwest. I was born and raised in Kansas. After high school, I went to Johnson County Community College. But I dropped out to join the Marines. After a 5-year contract as a correction specialist, I left, and now I'm back going to Johnson County Community College and KU. Currently serving as the president for Chapter 97 of Veterans for Peace here in Kansas City. March 24th, 1945, a month after Marines planted the U.S. flag on Iwo Jima, the Army releases the Army Talk Orientation Fact Sheet number 64 on fascism. This was a guide for military leaders used to discuss fascism with their soldiers. Unfortunately, we don't have time for discussion, but I'd like to lay out a few of these facts presented by some of our country's past anti-fascists. Feel free to stop by the VFP table to read it for yourself or find it on archive.org. Quote, the press, radio, movies, stage, all were put to the task of glorifying war. The school system, from kindergarten to university, justified and exalted tyranny over the strong over the weak. The school is the preparation for the army, said the Nazi minister of education, unquote. Now, who here knows someone, a kid, that plays Call of Duty, Battlefield, or Fortnite? I played these growing up. I still play them, and I count them as my influences that got me to enlist. Now, who here saw a recruiter in their school when they were growing up? I went on recruiting leave after boot camp to help my recruiters. We went to high schools to find kids and convince them to join. And they're great at convincing kids to join, especially when they're lying. They don't all lie. The U.S. has been preparing our children for war for a long time. Fascism is built on propaganda, on myths and emotion, and a warped interpretation of history. A separate reality is built and maintained to ensure participants stay loyal even when confronted with credible information on why they are wrong, even when confronted with the feelings inside oneself of what you're doing might be wrong. The goal of a fascist is to put a miniature fascist inside of each of our brains so that we police ourselves. As Americans, we've had that fascist cultivated since birth. The ideas of liberty and freedom can easily be cast aside when swept into the cult of reactionary politics. We have to find that tiny fascist inside of ourselves and educate them by deconstructing that false reality we inherit from society. Find me after this if you're interested in discussing how Netflix, Joe Rogan, and the myth of Atlantis helps to cultivate white supremacism. Another quote from the fact sheet. Fascism is government by the few for the few. The objective is seizure and control of the economic, political, social, and cultural life of the state, unquote. It also goes on to say, quote, the fascists knew that all believers in democracy were their enemies. They knew that the fundamental principle of democracy, faith in the common sense of the common people, was the direct opposite of fascist principles of rule by the elite few. So they fought democracy in all its phases. Why? Why do they do this? It's simple. Good people will not vote to hurt others. Are we going to vote to destroy the environment? Are we going to vote to starve or drone strike children? Are we going to vote to deport families coming here for a better life? No, we will not. I will not. We won't vote for these things. We won't vote for these things unless we've been lied to. Democracy is the will of the people. When the will of the people stands in the way, fascists get what they want through lying, cheating, and manipulation. We see attacks on our democracy more and more. Gerrymandering, voter suppression, no more early voting or mail-in ballots. Our country was founded on democratic ideals. The most interesting part about our democracy, though, is that we've always had fascists and authoritarians in our government. There were founders who wanted a king. We fought a civil war against rich elites that refused to let our democracy abolish slavery. In 1939, American fascists held a rally at Madison Square Garden, and the organizers of that rally, of that event, were friends with pro-Nazi congressmen. Throughout each critical moment in our democracy, only through organizing our own power have we kept them at bay. Another quote from the faction. In many countries, anti-Semitism is the dominant device of fascism. In the United States, native fascists have often been anti-Catholic, anti-Jew, anti-Negro, anti-labor, and anti-foreign born, unquote. Anti-foreign born, interesting. Anyone heard any lies about immigrants lately? I have. Raise your hand if you know who Joseph Goebbels is. Really good. Now raise your hand if you've ever read any of his speeches. A little less. The lies of Joseph Goebbels are the same lies being said on Fox News and OAN. Fascism doesn't happen overnight. It happens through years of manipulation of our society's model of reality. Now, Marine Corps Major General Smedley Butler wrote his famous book, War is a Racket, where he described his role as a muscle for the mafia. This book helped educate the fascists in my head. War didn't stop being a racket during World War II, and it didn't stop afterwards. How many wars are we going to be lied into? How long will we be lied into hurting each other? Well, that's up to us. It's up to us to find the truth and to help others find it as well. Now, I have one last quote. Citizenship in a democracy is more than a ballot dropped in a box on election day. It's a 365 days a year job requiring the active participation and best judgment of every citizen in the affairs of his community, his nation, and his country's relations with the world, unquote. Through a veteran organization called Common Defense, I attended a school called Veterans Organizing Institute. I learned that the most difficult way to be an activist is to do it alone. It's called lone wolf organizing. This is not what history shows us gets the job done. History shows us we have to band together, like what we're doing here and now. It doesn't mean going out to the corner and holding a sign every so often, but it is good. It means committing to joining a group and helping to accomplish the goals of that organization. As we all continue to move forward into the unknown, remember, the only way out of this peacefully is by making our democracy work. We've had a movement to abolish slavery. We've had one for women's suffrage. We've had a labor rights movement and a civil rights movement. But looking at history like this, looking at it as periods of time, helps that fascist in our head thrive. It tricks us into letting our guard down. We are in a movement for democracy. And just like each of the movements I just mentioned, the movement for democracy never ends. Thank you. Semper Fidelis. Peace and love.
Thank you, Bryson. What a great example of what a veteran community support can look like. Thank you so much. Okay, our next speaker is a little bit of everything. She wears many hats. She's advocacy director at Mainstream Coalition. She's a representative of Kansas Fair Maps Coalition, which she needs all of you at this point. And she's a city councilwoman for the city of Shawnee. Please welcome Laurel Burchfield.
Hi, everyone. Can we just say thank you one more time to our amazing organizers and all the volunteers who put this together? All right, look at this crowd. You know what I see when I look out here? I see community, I see power, and I see America. My organization, Mainstream Coalition, was formed over 30 years ago here in Johnson County by faith leaders and community leaders who saw the direction that our government was going in with religious extremism and stood up and said no. They organized their community, they spoke truth to power, and they fought for what is right and fair for all of Kansas. Now we're still fighting that fight today. We're in Topeka fighting every year to stop bad bills that discriminate against our queer community. That takes away taxpayer dollars from public schools. That makes it harder for us to access reproductive health care and safe and legal abortion. We're fighting beside our national partners to stop Trump's white Christian nationalism and their efforts to break down the wall separating church and state. Christian nationalism is not the faith that Kansans hold dear. It's a political ideology to concentrate power, privilege, and money within the few who discriminate against anyone who doesn't look, love, or believe like they do. Mainstream members in Kansas show up when extremist ideology threatens religious freedom for everyone, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists, pagans, and even atheists like me. We've been fighting for over 30 years with mainstream, and sometimes it feels like we're fighting a losing battle. But then I look at you, my community, showing up yet again when we see something wrong and we say no. Now, right now, the supermajority of the Kansas legislature is trying to hold a special session so they can redraw our congressional map. Why? Because Donald Trump told them to. He wants more power in D.C. to enact his authoritarian, theocratic agenda. Some of our Johnson County legislators were in D.C. just this week to learn about how they can cave to the demands of this would-be king. But they haven't called that special session yet, which, by the way, as you heard earlier, could cost us up to $500,000. Now, do you know why they haven't called that special session yet? It's because they know we're watching, and we're saying no. Kansas Fair Maps is a nonpartisan coalition of Kansas organizations and individuals who fought for fair maps back in 2022, the last time our map was redrawn after the 2020 census. And that's only supposed to happen every 10 years. We've come back together now during this crisis of mid-decade redistricting to tell our Kansas legislators that drawing our congressional map just so that one political party can gain even more power is wrong. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrats taking away the will of the people. Our vote is against every value that Kansans stand for. We believe in fairness. We believe in the voters choosing who we send to D.C. to represent us, not the other way around. We believe in the power of the ballot box. We believe that our democracy is worth fighting for. And we have over 1,500 Kansans who have joined us in signing our petition to let our legislators know that this is wrong and we do not want new maps. If you have not signed our petition yet, please go to ksfairmaps.org and sign that petition. Stand up for your representation in D.C. Help us help Kansas say no new maps. No new maps. No new maps. No new maps. All right, thank you guys. Thank you for using your voice. Thank you for being here today. In solidarity, my friends.
Thank you, Laurel. And I'm just loving all of the honking. To me, those are also participants, right? I mean, they're loud. We love it. Okay, next I get to introduce Rabbi Moti Rieber, who is Executive Director of the Kansas Interfaith Action Group.
Hey, y'all. I don't know if you saw the story this week in The Guardian about the chill girl. So now apparently in high school, when girls hear boys making racist or sexist jokes, they keep their mouths shut because they don't want to be accused of being a killjoy or worse. How much damage are we doing to our young girls by allowing this behavior to continue? And those boys grow up to be young Republican operatives who spend their time doing text jokes about Hitler and racism. This is the inevitable outcome of an administration made up of mediocre white men who think the mostest importantest thing they can do is be able to give free rein to their xenophobia, their racism, their anti-Semitism, their homophobia, and their misogyny. They have the power of billions of dollars for ICE Gestapo, a compliant Congress and Supreme Court, and a complicit media. But they are mediocre, and they prove it every time they open their mouths. And just to put it on the record, Ty Masterson and Dan Hawkins are mediocre too. That's why they have to game the system. MAGA is affirmative action for mediocre white men. The damage being done under the MAGA boot heel will take years to undo, but their mediocrity is actually one of our greatest weapons, as well as the support of millions of people like you all over the world, including in Trump country, to say no kings, down with fascism. My friends, we are currently in a struggle between two diametrically opposed worldviews. The first is the worldview of slaveholder Christianity, which is called Christian nationalism or Christian fascism, which believes white people on top, men on top, and Christians on top, and everybody else is here by their tolerance. This is the MAGA vision. And the other is a vision of a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multiracial America, all of us being equal in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of God. This is the vision we are fighting for here today, and it's worth fighting for because it calls for us to be better people and a better nation. We only have to go back to Scripture for our moral guidance. We are commanded to care for the orphan, the widow, and the immigrants. We are commanded to treat the least of these as we would treat God. The morality of the situation is not complicated at all, but let me give you a little cheat sheet. If your argument is that empathy is a dirty word, then you're on the wrong side. You may have heard MAGAs in Washington vilifying those of us here today, accusing us of hating America and getting paid to be here. We've already established that no one's getting paid to be here. But contrast our joy with their hatred and anger. By attacking our organizations, by attacking us, they are trying to break us. And it's very dangerous because they have a lot of weapons. The ICE Gestapo and the genocide in Gaza prove that there is no right to life for anyone who falls outside the magic circle. They get our money and we get the secret police. And what do we say to that? No. We have to recognize also, my friends, that we are in an inflection point. It's not just about defeating MAGA. It's about building a better world. The Supreme Court, because the things that we've been doing in the past don't really work anymore. The Supreme Court is about to overturn the Voting Rights Act, which is the greatest achievement of people power in this country's history, and Dr. King's crowning achievement. And oh, by the way, the first time democracy was ever extended to the descendants of the previously enslaved. It was renewed almost unanimously by Congress in 2006, and it's about to be wiped out by a stroke of the pen. We can't keep going right and right and right and right and right and then carve a little sliver back. That's not going to work anymore. When all this is over, we are going to have to undertake a third reconstruction, a deep and transformative way in which this country is run. We have to demand what we need, not want, but need to survive and thrive. Affordable housing, healthcare, including mental health care, including reproductive health care, including gender-affirming health care. Food, clean water, education, a stable climate. These are human rights. And we have to begin talking about them that way. I was asked to conclude with a couple of action items, so here they are. Join an organization. There are a lot of organizations here. There's a lot of organizations work. Pick an issue that you care about and join an organization that's working on it. And also, talk in your circles about what we're talking about here today. If you belong to a congregation and they're afraid to say anything about immigration or LGBTQ rights, then you need to make an effort to change that dialogue in your congregation. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of divisiveness, because being afraid of divisiveness is kind of how we got here. We have to come out of this dark period with a whole new way of looking at the world. But most importantly, we have to really believe that the world can be a better place and that we can help to make it so. And that's so important. I'm going to say it again. The world can be a better place and we can help to make it so. Let's together imagine that better world and let's come together to fix it. Repeat after me. I believe. I believe that. I believe that we. I believe that we will. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you. Woo! Now I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Micah Kubic, who is the Executive Director of ACLU of Kansas. He leads the largest advocacy organization in the state. Please welcome Dr. Kubic.
Well, hello. When I say hello, your job is to say it back. I said hello. That's better. It is so nice to be with you here today. I want to thank our friends at Boots on the Ground for doing the hard work of putting this together, but also the hard work of defending our democracy every day of the year. So I was thinking a little bit about what I wanted to say to you today, and as I was driving here in the car, a song came on the radio by one of my favorite blues singers, a woman named Denise LaSalle. She had one big hit in the 1970s with Trapped by a Thing Called Love. But the song that came on the radio is a more recent one. It is a song about a low-down, rotten, no-good man. And the lyric of that song says, I'm tired of going through changes with you. I'm tired of going through changes with you. And I don't know about you, but when I look out on the state of the country, when I look out on the state of this administration, all I can say is I am tired of going through changes with you. When I think about the daily assault on the rule of law that comes from the Trump administration, I am tired of going through changes with you. When I think about the fact that the people who protect our skies, our health, our environment are being laid off or going without pay so that Elon Musk can get just a little bit richer, I'm tired of going through changes with you. When I think about Donald Trump's war on the right to vote, the daily denigration of our democracy, I am tired of going through changes with you. When I think about the fact that a TV show morning host is the Secretary of Defense and an anti-science wackaloon is the Secretary of Health, and there are coup plotters building ballrooms in the White House, I am tired of going through changes with you. When I think about the crew of enablers rampaging up and down this country with our own Chris Kobach fighting his way to the front of the pack, I'm tired of going through changes with you. When I think about the fact that there are folks in this country who want to take us back in time, not to 1950, not to 1850, but to the year 12, I'm tired of going through changes with you. And when I think about the fact that Donald Trump has proclaimed himself a king in everything but name, I'm tired of going through changes with you. And so I came here today, Johnson County, just to ask you, are you tired? Are you tired? Make me believe you. Are you tired? All right, so then we got work to do. And the work doesn't end by coming here. Oh, no. We got work to do all over this country. And the good thing is that when you get tired, the fact that you are here, when you get tired, it doesn't mean you sit down. It doesn't mean you take a nap. No. It means you get up, you get involved, you get engaged, you get in the fight, and you get in to work. What I want you to know today is that the work to defend our democracy, to defend our community, to defend the rule of law, it's not just in Washington, D.C. The sun does not rise and set on Washington, D.C. No, there is work to do here in Kansas and right here in Johnson County. In fact, the best, the most important way to defend the rule of law, to defend our shared values, to push back on Donald Trump and his authoritarian vision is to take action right here in Johnson County. Because this is a place where we can make sure that our local democracy is strong, healthy, inclusive, and resilient. We can take steps to make people's lives better in the here and now. And by doing that, we make it hard for creeping authoritarianism to creep into the room. Because the thing about authoritarianism, the thing about undermining the rule of law, is that it isn't just one person's decision or actions. No, in fact, it takes lots and lots and lots and lots of people to go along with it. In this country, it takes lots of state and local governments to go along with it, to say to a would-be king, all right, we'll accept what you are proclaiming and we'll use our tools, our resources, our services, our policies, our budgets to help you do it. And so our job here in Johnson County is to make it clear that we are tired of going through changes with you, and we are going to make ding-dang sure that our local governments don't do anything to enable attacks on democracy. In fact, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that our democracy is stronger, not weaker, our communities more inclusive, not less, and that more people's voices are heard, not just one man. And one critical way of doing that today is by defending voting rights. They are under attack all over this country, and even in a place like Johnson County, where we are known for high voter turnout, there are lots of barriers to eligible citizens getting to vote. So if you want to defend democracy, the rule of law, push back on Donald Trump, the single best way of doing it is to make sure that it is easier for every eligible citizen to vote. And that's where we need your help. That's where we need your help. Because right now here in Johnson County, it is harder to vote than it should be. That is especially true for eligible citizens whose first language is not English. And there are thousands of such citizens here in Johnson County. They want to participate the same way they participate in our economy, our community, volunteer for military service at higher rates than anybody else. But the local election office here in Johnson County does not make one single solitary thing, not one piece of paper, available in any language other than English. And that makes it harder for eligible people to muddle their way through the process. Imagine trying to do all of that in a language that is not your first language. So we at the ACLU and some community partners, including most of the folks here today, we asked the Johnson County Election Commissioner to start making at least some materials, at least a piece of paper, available in a language other than English, starting but not ending with Spanish. Because it's the year 2025, and that shouldn't be too much to ask, to make sure that more people can participate. And so when we asked the election commissioner to do that, we asked very nicely, very politely, very nice, very kind. The election commissioner told us to go jump in a lake and said it was, quote, deplorable to even ask. That's worth booing. And so that's why today I'm here asking for your help. There are folks around the crowd who have these signs. They have a QR code on them. I'd ask you to use that QR code. It helps you to sign a petition to let our local authorities know that no is not the right answer here. That we want to make it easier for eligible citizens to vote. That we want to make it easier for eligible citizens to vote regardless of their language fluency. Because you know what? The Constitution doesn't say that your rights are adhered to you only if you are perfectly flawless in English. If it did, a whole lot of powerful people would be plumb out of luck. The Constitution doesn't say that your rights attach only if it is convenient and easy and the answer that is pleasing to the election authorities. And so we ask you to sign that petition. We ask you to do it. I'm begging you to do it. Don't make me get down on my knees. I'm asking you to sign that petition to say you want to defend voting rights here in Johnson County. Now, you came here today because you are tired of going through changes with Donald Trump, and so am I. But the way that we stop being tired of his funky tail is by taking action at the local level. The way we do it is by strengthening the fibers of democracy against his attacks, strengthening the resolve of our local governments to say no when he comes calling, and to strengthen the bonds of our community. And so that's why we're asking you to do that. It is a way to defend democracy and to defend our rights. If we do that, if we get our local officials to respond, our local leaders to care about voting rights, then we can make first Johnson County, and then Kansas, and then America, a place where democracy reigns and not kings. A place where the rule of law reigns and not kings. A place where community reigns and not kings. A place where the people reign, not kings. And if we do that, then we will never, ever again have to look on Donald Trump and say, I'm tired of going through changes with you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much again. Thank you all for all of the amazing speakers. It has been an incredible time of motivation and vision and hope, and now is your chance to speak out. This is step one. You need to ask yourself, what am I doing next? So one thing you can do is grab your signs and head over there to the protesters and join the honkers. We ask if you do to cross at the lights only. We want to continue to be an accident-free day. Take any trash with you. That would be really nice. And we are so lucky to hear from Joy Zimmerman one more time. Thank you for coming.
We're going to send you out singing.